Welcome to Newton's
Laws of motion.
Newton's first law is also called the law of inertia. It states objects at rest stay at rest, and objects in motion stay in motion unless they're acted upon. This means that when the net force is zero, the object will remain doing what it's doing.
In the video, the cart's moving, and Hadley will continue moving in the cart until something comes and acts on it to slow it down. She will keep rolling down the hallway until friction or someone comes and stops her.
In this video, the shopping cart that Hadley is in is not being acted upon. That is why she's not moving. Unless someone or something comes and hits the cart, Hadley will stay where she is.
Newton's second law describes how an object accelerates. An object will accelerate in the direction of the net force. Acceleration is proportional to the net force and inversely proportional to mass. This means that acceleration increases as force increases, and acceleration decreases as mass increases.
In this video, the force the cart puts on Sydney causes her to fall in the same direction. As the cart hits her, the force applied causes her to accelerate in the direction of the force. If she were to weigh more, the cart would need more force for her to fall. If the cart weighed more, she would fall further.
In this video, as Jason pushes the cart into the door, the applied force opens the door. The force he puts into the door causes it to accelerate in the direction of the force. If the door had more mass, Jason would have to apply more force for it to accelerate at the same speed.
Newton's third law is also known as the law of action and reaction. This law states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This means will be equal in magnitude but opposite in direction.
In this video, as Sydney and Hadley collide, Hadley bounces back in the opposite direction. The action is the two colliding, and the reaction is Hadley bouncing back. The reaction, force of Hadley going backwards, is equal to the magnitude of the two carts colliding, but is in the opposite direction.
And don't you know it's happening? Every time it rains.
In this video, as Chase pushes the cart, it hits the wall. The action is Chase pushing the cart. The reaction is the cart bouncing back in the opposite direction. The reaction force of the cart is equal in magnitude, which is the force, but opposite than the original direction.
Thank you for listening to Newton's Laws of Motion.
Welcome.
Two.
Fun facts with Jason,
Chase.
Hadley, and Sydney.
History tells that he was not a good student who would excel in his studies. He had to work as a servant to pay his bills, and he liked to keep a journal of his ideas and thoughts.
The most valuable tooth in the world belongs to Newton. His tooth was sold in 1816 at an auction for approximately $3,600.
Newton suffered twice with a nervous breakdown. This happened when he suspected that his friends conspired against him.
Born in England, Isaac Newton was a highly influential physicist, astronomer, mathematician, philosopher, a chemist, and much more.
Newton estimated that the world would end no earlier than 2060.
Newton was a very religious man and also studied the book of nature very passionately out of his curiosity. He wanted to study these subjects to discover a single system of the world that would explain everything.
There is no concrete evidence about the famous apple hitting Newton in his head and inspiring him about research on gravitation and the related theories.
Right there. Newton had written in his college notebook about himself, and I quote, "Making pies on Sunday night, punching my sister, threatening my father and Mother Smith to burn them and the house over them."
On March 31st, 1727, at 84, Newton died unmarried and was buried in Westminster Abbey.
When Newton was being criticized by fellow scientists, he began a life of solitude and total isolation in 1679 and remained in this state for the next 6 years of his own life. The end.